coming up with the estimate and how I would come up with that estimate for doing a boat restoration, time is something that is very, very difficult to estimate on how long it's going to take something. Like if you've got to go to work Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and then you're trying to do this restoration project from 5:30 to 9 o'clock at night every night, and then Saturdays and Sundays, that can definitely be more difficult to figure out how long it's going to take, and then what all you're going to want to do. Going back to what I said in the beginning with the 5 different things being engine, transom, stringers, deck, and the fuel tank. If all 5 of those are good, then like I said, you can go and take a list and write down everything that you need. Does it need a new T-top canvas? Does it need to be wet sanded, compounded, stuff like that? Does it need new electronics? Does it need a stereo? Does it need rewired? Do all the pumps need to be replaced? Does it need a battery? What exactly does it need? Do you need a new dash panel? Do you need new switches for all your electronics? You're going to have to go through the boat with a piece of paper and a pen and make an actual list of everything that the boat needs. And then that way you can go home and start researching that stuff. Look on Amazon, look on eBay, look on everything to try and find out all those things that you need and put a price on it. And then you can get yourself a total of what your estimate is going to be and how much money you're going to sink in parts on the boat. But again, without the dedicated time to do it, it's going to be how big of a project are you willing to take on? Obviously, if you don't have the time, you don't want to do a transom. You don't want to do a repower because that's too much money if you have to replace the engine. If you got to do the fuel tank, again, that's a big price. So staying away from those or just estimating that. Now, how to get an estimate on a transom, how to get an estimate on a fuel tank, that kind of thing. On the fuel tank, you're going to need to look at the fuel tank, and on the top of the tank, there's usually a tag. Some of them, depending on how the label was made, be careful when you wipe them off because you can wipe off the actual print or the ink that was put on there to show what the capacity is. Now, once you get the capacity of the tank, sometimes you have to take a light or a mirror and put the mirror down in there and use the light to kind of like try and see what that is and what the total capacity of the tank is. But generally, it used to be like $10 a gallon. So for a 100-gallon tank, it was going to cost $1,000. Depending on the access to the tank is going to determine the labor and cost of materials to actually replace that tank. You're going to need the fill hose, potentially a fuel sender. Some of them come with cinders, some of them do not. Depends on who makes it. A lot of times it has to be a welder that makes it. Like you need to get a custom made tank unless you've got a production line boat that you can get a production type tank in. That's basically going to be the way to figure out how much it's going to cost to redo that specific boat. Now, if you enjoyed this clip, you can watch the full episode over here, or you can watch another one over here.